the body keeps score is a good notion, because at some point, depending on the symptoms, because that's what we're going back to. If you're not eating, you're we're gonna something's gonna give. If you've been self-medicating, something's gonna give. If you've been having insomnia, something's gonna give. So all of kind of what you're talking about are some of the physical things, right, that
Mhm.
are happening. So some of those physical signs are going to be what are going to be telling to, how well you're coping or how well you're doing.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm looking at your personal hygiene. Have you been able to do the thing that you once used to do? Are you enjoying anything?
Mhm.
Did you used to enjoy sports? Did you used to enjoy going out? Did you have hobbies? Did you have interest? So some of these things are the things that we're scaling to say how much shift has there been,
Mhm.
and based on some of these responses, we'll be able to kind of echo, to highlight, that there should be a shift. Earlier, I talked about what are some of the short-term things that need to be done, and what are some of the short-term things that need to be done. For example, an individual might, have a drink or two because they've heard some bad news, but now you're drinking a bottle a day, right? So
Mhm.
that's a shift. So we're
Mhm.
looking at some of the behavioral changes to try to create a different approach to bring you
Mhm.
back to as close to your baseline as possible, with respect to recognizing that this is a journey, and
Mhm.
the weight of the loss is having a toll on you. And if we don't rein some of these things in, it might lead to some of the things that we talked about before as it relates to mental health or physical impacts.
So in terms of surface level,
Hmm.
because this is our intro
Yes.
episode, we'll go into more depth in the next episodes. But in terms of giving people some hope and reassurance,
Hmm.
um, if someone is feeling broken or behind in grief, what would you want them to know?
They're not alone. I think
Mhm.
oftentimes we grieve, and I hope that I was able to highlight the fact that when we're talking about grief and loss, there are different signs and symptoms connected to this. So, oftentimes people feel like they're alone, and it leads or may lead to isolation. So I would say they're not alone. I would say recognize their sadness, grief, and sorrow. They're crying. It are signs that something is going on.
Mhm.
They may be in a particular stage of grief,
Mhm.
and that's okay. I would also say grieving is a journey. And some
Mhm.
of the things that I talked about being, whether it be the physical signs, the psychological signs, looking back at things and interests that you used to have. Are you able to work? Are you able to go to school? Are you able to take care of yourself? So really just assessing where you are. Um, it's all a journey, just based on the weight and the level of grief that you have faced.
Mhm.
Um, have, an accountability partner or group or team. There is a lot of stigma connected to loss, depending on the type of loss and kind of, how we experience some of these losses.
Mhm.
But being able to be vulnerable and have conversation and really speak to how you're doing is important, and to be given grace,
Mhm.
and to be able to be validated that it's okay to feel somewhat shitty, not well. That's okay too.
Mhm.
But it's how long do we stay in that place,
Mhm.
on the journey?